Welcome to the Women Inspire Aspire podcast. In this podcast, I am talking to Amala Rai about theatre art.
Hi, Amala. Thanks for accepting my invite to appear in the podcast. How are you doing today?
Hi, Venkat. Thank you for inviting me. I'm good.
Okay, wonderful. For the sake of audience, could you please go ahead and tell a bit about yourself and your background?
All right. So, my name is Amala Rai. I'm a theater educator, practitioner, director, actor, and curriculum designer. I am from Shimla, Himachal Pradesh. I graduated from National School of Drama in 1984. Ever since, I've been doing theater, educating theater, doing theater with jail inmates, with orphan kids, with slum kids, with destitute women, teaching to school children, international school board students, and then universities. I also did my master's in educational studies from University of Bath, England. I've been recipient of senior fellowship from Ministry of Culture for 2 years, and my research area was theater in education, using it as a tool to teach academic subjects. And I'm international baccalaureate assistant examiner and workshop leader. To say it in brief, that's pretty much it. And now at present, I'm doing theater with my village children near Kasoli. That's pretty much about me.
Wow, really wonderful to hear about the great work that you're doing. In terms of theater, could you please elaborate about what exactly the theater work that you are pursuing, details about it, and how you are able to impart education to the children and other people through the theater?
Theater is the only thing that I know. Besides that, I really don't know. Yeah, recently I started doing farming, so that's a bit of that I have started learning. So for me, theater is not only just entertainment, but I would say it is edutainment, which educates at the same time entertains. And I've been using theater as a tool for social change ever since I graduated from National School of Drama because I believe in the power of theater. It's a strong, powerful tool. So I have covered topics like social inequality and social injustices for underprivileged and marginalized people and also children, and taking up environmental issues to deal with, and also the marital issues. And I've done theater with jail inmates for 3 continuous years with the Kathu sub jail in Shimla. And I have seen a lot of positive outcomes with the inmates during my time with them. And also the change in the angst of orphan kids and slum kids that they harbor. So I feel that theater not only makes people aware of their voice, their feelings, but also empowers them to give them tools to express in an aesthetical way rather than in an aggressive way. And that heals. So, theater, in a way, is a therapy as well for healing the wounds, psychological and emotional wounds, and also gives them a perspective to critically think about what they are feeling, how they are feeling, why they are feeling, and how can they express those feelings to help bring an awareness in the community or in the society that they live in.
It's very interesting that theater is being used for healing and it is so much required in the society right now. When it comes to delivering the theater, is it in the way of storytelling that you interact with the people that you work with? What is your methodology?
So Venkat, it differs. It is never the same. It differs on the set of the group, what form or genre they are comfortable with, because theater is such a dynamic art form and it is not static. and I don't limit it to one form. I see the group, what the group is comfortable with. So sometimes it is published script, sometimes it's a story adaptation into a drama script, or sometimes we improvise. We take up an issue, we improvise, we create scenes, or sometimes it is saying simple things with folk theater form and a folk flavor. Again, it also depends on the audience that we are targeting. So when I'm doing a play here in village of Himachal with village kids, so our issues are very different from that from the city, and the language that village people understand is different from a very academic or a polished Hindi language. So I take up the Pahadi language, Pahadi dialect, and I add a lot of Pahadi folk songs and Pahadi folk forms into the genre so that people can relate to. Because for me, it is not about showing the world that I am a genius and I know this and I specialize in this form and this style and the scene work, scenic work, or the lights in the music. It is about reaching out to people, communicating in whatever metaphor, idiom, or dialect they understand. So it is very fluid, very fluid. And if I'm doing it with school children, then it's a different form. Then maybe it is an academic play which they are studying in school or in their subject, so that they get a better understanding of what they are studying. Or if I'm doing it with adults, with university students, then it is a different genre. Then maybe I take up Shakespeare or Bertolt Brecht or Ibsen. So it all depends on the group and the target audience.
That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Could you tell us a bit about how you got into theater at the first place? What made you interested in theater, maybe in your childhood or during your school or college days?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I was learning Kathak here in Shimla while I was still in school. So I used to learn it in evening, and I was very passionate about Kathak. I could express myself very well doing Kathak dance. Around that time when I was studying BA in Shimla, was given an opportunity to act in a play. I thought, yeah, because I've always been interested in performing arts. So I did a role in a play called Ashad Ka Ek Din, a very small role. Even though it was a small role, but it gave me a lot of freedom to express, to use my body and voice in many various ways. And that's when I felt that a classical dance form is limiting because it has its rules, norms, which cannot be broken as a pure classical form. So I found Kathak limiting in terms of expression. So I got attracted towards theater. Around that time, I started doing with the local theater groups there. And by the time I graduated from BA, I thought that I wanted to do masters in Kathak earlier, but after doing theater, the kind of freedom and experimentation that I experienced, thought I will do my higher studies in theater. That's how I got into postgraduate program in Punjab University Department of Indian Theatre. It was 1 year program. So by the end of the program, I realized that this is my inner calling. So I further tried to get into National School of Drama, and I was lucky to get admitted in the first try. Then I was totally consumed by theater and I never looked back. That's how it started.
Wow, that's fantastic to know about your journey and your beginnings of how you got into the theater. theater. Now let's talk a bit about some of the memories that you have on one or two instances of fantastic memories that you have on theater. Maybe you could describe them to us.
Sure. So it's been 40 plus years of theater journey. I have many, many fantastic memories, but I will try to pick and choose the most impactful. The fantastic thing about theater is it brings people together. It is not a competitive art form where I do better than you, but it is like if you are not able to do well, I will come and support you because there is a common goal for everyone. So it's a beautiful feeling. It's a commune where everyone is together in the process, and the process is more important in theater than the product, than the final show. Each show can differ. One can be a successful, one show can be a flop, but the experiences which we derive from the process is the fantastic. So I have memories of many, many theater processes. So here is one which is immediately coming to my mind, that I was doing a theater workshop with the underprivileged women in a slum of Mumbai, I think some 2 decades back. And these were abused women by their alcoholic husbands in that slum, and they were supported by a local NGO who were giving them jobs of embroidery. So they were doing embroidery for the NGO, and NGO was selling those garments to some company in US. So the NGO was supported by some company in US, this NGO. These were women abused, unexpressed. In our theater, when we do, there are a lot of games and lot of exercises where participants don't even come to know what they are expressing. They realize after they have played the game, or they've done the exercise, or they've done the improvisation. So in one such theater game, a theater exercise, which is eye contact, two people have to look into the eyes, just not speak anything, not say anything, just look into the eyes for extended period of time, like 10 to 15 minutes, and then start saying maybe hello, how are you. That's it. 2 or 3 simple sentences. When I started, I realized that these women did not have courage to look into the eye of their own fellow colleague. They were, so scared to look into the eyes. Slowly, in say 10-15 days, they could gather courage. They started looking into each other's eyes and suddenly changing the partner, and suddenly start communicating whatever they are feeling looking into the eyes. And theater teaches you to ask questions, because whatever we do in theater, whatever we do on stage, whether it is moving or a gesture or a posture, it has to have a logic. After 15 days, I get a call from the president of NGO, and she told me that she had stopped the workshop and there was no need for me to come. I said, why? She said, no, I think we are good, we are done, and we have achieved our goal, we have stopped. But I said, it is a 30-day workshop, how could you stop after 15 days? She said, no, 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 that's it, we are good. I was very upset, very, very upset. So I decided to visit these women, not at the center, but their home. So I went into the slums, and there was one girl who was kind of a bridge between these women and the NGO, local girl from the slum itself. I met her. I said, what happened? She said that the president of NGO is not liking that these women are looking into the eyes and they are asking questions like, what is our real wages? And why are you making us sign on the receipt which says higher value and you are giving us half of it. And that's how the president got really angry. Venkat, this is the power of theater. So this is one. I didn't want to create any nuisance for these women because they were dependent on that NGO. But I stayed in touch with those women. Early morning, I would visit and work with them, and they could raise their voice, their rights, and the NGO had to submit, and they started paying them proper wages.
Wow, what a powerful experience. That's very, very interesting to know about your work and the impact that it is having on the community. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, let's talk a bit about the struggles and challenges you might have had in your journey, maybe a couple of them, because things may not have gone straightforward. There might have been obstacles or challenges that you might have faced. So, can you share some of them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, theater has always been and even now a very offbeat profession. It doesn't fall into the conventional, popular line of profession. So, yeah, there have been many challenges, but at the same time, many, many blessings. I was blessed to have parents that I had. They encouraged me to go for theater, so that really made life easy. But after graduating from National School of Drama, to decide to make profession or your passion a full-time profession is hard and tough because you need to survive, you need to pay bills, you need to eat. So that has been a big struggle in order to have a stable economy to support the life, the survival. But I think that when you are deprived of a normal, conventional source of income, you get more courageous, you get more creative, and you expand and you start finding ways to support yourself. So, first thing is that you minimize, you become minimalist, that you just go on survival mode, that you get very practical, that I just need to eat, I need to have maybe 4 or 5 sets of clothes which are clean, and a safe atmosphere to live. And that's how I started doing workshops, creating workshops. I was getting invited by different people, by different states, by different schools to do theater. I thought I was a good teacher. I could share whatever I have. Besides doing theater, I have my own theater group in Shimla called Abhivyakti from 1994, and that's still doing well. I did a bit of spree with films and Hindi television, but that was not my inner calling, and I wasn't very much drawn to it as I was drawn to doing theater. Yes, there have been ups and downs where, my husband is also from National School of Drama. He's my senior. We've been through bad times in Mumbai, but it's okay. I mean, you have a belief in yourself that you are on the right path. We've been passionate about it. And when I feel, and I always believed, and I still believe that when you follow passion, money is the byproduct of your passion. It's not going to go anywhere. It will give you enough to survive. And that's all one needs to do in this world in order to do beautiful things and not fancy for a very gorgeous life or brands and cars and watches and this and that. So we are still minimalist. That has become a way of life. If you have the passion, genuine, which flows from you naturally, money will be byproduct and it will take care of you. It cannot be otherwise, that money is your passion and creativity is the byproduct. It cannot happen. That's what I believe in. So even going through ups and downs, but it is theater, my commitment, my perseverance, and my consistent effort into it, that I have traveled the world around because of theater. I've got respect in society, in the country, on international level because of theater. And now leading a very, very simple, minimalist life in village and trying to contribute to the development of children of my village. That's pretty much it.
That's fantastic to know. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it has been a real pleasure knowing your experiences and your vast contribution to the theater and the impact that you are making on the society. Thank you so much for appearing in our podcast and sharing your views. I wish you all the best in your life and in your future endeavors. Once again, thank you so much. Please take care and bye for now.
Thank you, Venkat. All the best.
That was a great podcast with Amala Rai. Please subscribe to this channel and follow it for more awesome podcasts. Opinions expressed by the guests in this podcast are their own. The host or the sponsors of the podcast do not condone the opinions expressed by the guests or the actions arising out of those opinions. Any decisions or actions that the listeners might take as a result of listening to this podcast must be based on their own judgment and will be at their own risk. The podcast host or their sponsors will not be held responsible for the consequences of any actions and or decisions taken as a result of any content in this podcast.